It was supposed to be a fun-filled birthday party, so I thought, rather, it was the opposite. Jason had just turned 17. His parents were out of town for the weekend, so naturally he planned a big house party. Not a crazy, alcohol-fueled one, but just close friends, good music, games, and food. Nothing wild. I was one of about a dozen people invited. We all showed up around 7 p.m. The house was huge, his parents were well off, and it sat in a quiet neighborhood outside Seattle. Dimly lit streets, manicured lawns, and just enough isolation to make it perfect for a party. The living room was decorated with strings of lights and blue balloons. Jason's birthday cake sat proudly on the dining table, a big round thing with thick white frosting and red lettering that read, "Happy 17th, Jason, make a wish." It looked a little strange, to be honest. The red icing looked more like smears than writing, and the cake itself had a weird smell. Not bad, just metallic. Anyway, we all laughed it off, played music, danced, and enjoyed ourselves, until it was time for the cake. That's when everything changed. We gathered around the table, and Jason stood proudly behind the cake, candles flickering. "Make a wish!" someone shouted. Jason smiled, closed his eyes, and blew out the candles. The room erupted in cheers. Then the lights flickered and went out. Total darkness. People laughed, thinking it was a fuse. Then the emergency lights kicked in, dim red bulbs that made everything look like a horror movie. Someone tried to turn the main lights back on, but the switch didn't work. Then came the sound. Thump. We all froze. "Did someone fall?" I asked. We checked the hallway. Empty. That's when Mia, a quiet girl from school, screamed. We rushed back to the dining room. She was pointing at the table. The cake had been sliced. Jason hadn't touched it yet, no one had. But there was a clean, perfect cut right down the middle of it, and thick red liquid was oozing from the center. It wasn't icing. It wasn't jelly. It was bleeding. Somebody laughed nervously. "Nice prank, Jason. You really went all out." But he didn't laugh. He was pale, eyes wide. "I didn't do that," he said softly. The room went cold. Suddenly the front door slammed shut. Then the windows. All at once, a wind howled through the house, even though all the windows were closed. Then the lights flickered again, and when they came back on, Sophia was gone. Gone. Like she'd never been there. Her phone sat on the couch, her jacket still hanging on the chair, no sign of her. We called out, checked every room, nothing. Jason ran to the front door. Locked. Deadbolt wouldn't budge. No, he mumbled, starting to panic. Then someone noticed the cake again. Where there had been one slice before, now there were two. And a second puddle of blood. One for Jason's wish, one for Sophia. Everyone backed away from the table. "This isn't real," Marcus said, shaking his head. "This is a joke. Someone's hiding her." But then the TV turned on, by itself. Static at first. Then an image. It was Sophia on the screen, standing in the dark, her eyes wide, mouth gagged. She was crying. Then the image flickered and changed to the inside of the house, a new angle, like a security camera. But there were no cameras in that house. We watched in horror as the camera panned to the cake. A hand reached out from off-screen with a knife, cutting the next slice. Real time, right before our eyes. No more slices," someone screamed. "Don't cut anything else." But it was too late. The knife moved on its own. Slice 3, blood poured out again. And Connor disappeared. Just gone. 1 second there, next second nothing but his shoes. 3 slices, 3 missing people. That's when the TV showed a message. "Each wish has a price. Feed the cake, finish the offering." Jason dropped to his knees, sobbing. "What did you wish for?" I asked him. He wouldn't answer at first. But finally he whispered, "I wished for this night to never end." That was the wish. A night that never ends. A party that never stops. And the cake, it was keeping it going. By taking someone with every slice. We tried smashing the cake. Didn't work. It just reformed. Perfect again, whole. The lettering appeared fresh, the candles relit. Jason tried to eat it, thinking maybe that would undo it. But when he did, he screamed and collapsed. Blood poured from his mouth, his tongue turned black. He died within seconds. The cake reset again. Now it read, "Happy birthday, make another wish." And the knife stood upright in the middle, gleaming. We were trapped in a loop. The house wouldn't let us go. The lights wouldn't turn on. Time wouldn't pass. Our phones showed 12 a.m. over and over. Each hour a new slice was cut. Each time someone vanished. Until it was just me. One final slice left. I'm writing this now from the attic, hiding, hoping. The cake is waiting downstairs. One slice left. One person remaining. Me. And I know what it want. If anyone finds this, don't ever blow out birthday candles in that house. Don't make a wish. Because if the cake is listening, it'll make sure you get exactly what you asked for. And so much worse. They say some people wear masks to hide their pain, but sometimes the mask is the face. And when that face shows up at your door uninvited, you better run or pray. It was Natalie's birthday, her 21st. A special year, the kind you're supposed to remember for life. And believe me, I will. But not for the reason anyone expected. She was a friend from university. Artsy, vibrant, always full of ideas. She loved the vintage aesthetic and rented a weird old house in Vermont for a weekend party. You know the type. Floral wallpaper peeling at the edges, creaky floorboards, and furniture covered with sheets when we arrived. There were 10 of us total. I came with my girlfriend, Riley. We expected drinks, cake, maybe some dancing in the big candlelit living room. Natalie had even hired a local jazz band to play the first hour. It was weird, but fun. At around 9 p.m., we noticed a stranger had arrived. We assumed he was someone's plus one. He was tall, dressed in an old-fashioned black suit, completely silent, and wore a papier-mâché mask, white with red lips and hollow eye holes. It looked hand-painted and slightly crooked, like a child's craft project, but unsettling. Natalie laughed when she saw him. "Nice costume. You're early for Halloween." He didn't respond, just stood in the hallway near the coat rack. No one claimed to know him. We figured he was part of a prank or a hired performer. Natalie had a flair for the dramatic. Maybe she hired him as a creepy statue guy or something. People took pictures with him. He never moved until midnight. That's when he vanished. Just gone. "Did he leave?" someone asked. No one saw him go out. We checked outside. The snow had begun to fall, but there were no footprints leading to or from the house. And where he had been standing, a single red balloon tied to the coat rack with the number 1 drawn on it. Natalie looked genuinely confused. "I didn't do that," she said. We all started feeling uneasy. Riley wanted to leave, but the snowstorm outside had gotten worse. Roads were blocked, no Ubers, no signal. We were stuck, so we tried to forget about it and played some music, opened wine, laughed it off. But then, around 1 a.m., the lights flickered, and another balloon appeared, tied to the back of the couch. Number 2. "Okay, who's doing this?" someone shouted, but no one confessed. At 2 a.m., balloon number 3 showed up in the kitchen. We hadn't left the room. The jazz music turned on by itself, but it was warped, playing backward, slowed down. The record player didn't even have a disc on it. And then someone screamed. Riley had gone upstairs to use the bathroom. She came back shaking, eyes wide, saying she saw someone in the guest room. "He was just standing there," she whispered, "facing the wall." We all went up. The room was empty, but written on the mirror in red lipstick were the words, 10 guests, 1 mask, choose. Now people were freaking out. Some tried to leave again. The front door was jammed. One guy tried smashing the window, but bounced back like he hit a brick wall. That's when we checked the photos we had taken earlier. In every picture, the masked man was closer. At first in the background, then beside us, then in front of Natalie, even though none of us remember him ever being that close. One picture showed him standing directly behind me, hand raised like he was about to touch my shoulder. I felt sick. At 3 a.m. we heard music playing in the basement. Old carnival music. No one wanted to go down, but we did. At the bottom of the stairs, we found a chair, a birthday hat on the seat, a note that read, "Make a wish, blow out the lights." Then all the candles in the room went out by themselves. When the lights came back on, 2 people were gone, vanished, no sound, no struggle. And now balloon number 5 floated by the door. That's when we realized the balloons were counting, but not the hours, the victims we were being picked off. And the masked man? He was still here, somewhere in the house. We turned on every light. We searched every closet. In Natalie's bedroom, we found another note tucked under the pillow. "You let him in, now he gets to play." We confronted Natalie. She broke down crying. "I didn't know it was real," she whispered. "I found the mask at a thrift store. I thought it was just weird art, but there was a warning on it." She pulled out an old yellowed tag from her purse. It read, "This mask belonged to him. If worn or invited in, he returns to collect his guests." She'd brought the mask to the party earlier, jokingly placed it on the hallway shelf. That's when he appeared. We had invited him in. At 4 a.m. Natalie went missing, and so did another friend. Balloon number 7 floated upstairs. The remaining 3 of us, me, Riley, and Kyle, barricaded ourselves in the attic. We stayed awake, watching the hallway through the cracks. At exactly 5 a.m. we heard the door creak open. Footsteps, slow, steady, and then a whisper from beneath the door. "Your turn." Kyle ran out, trying to make a break for the stairs. We never saw him again. Now there were only 2 of us left, me and Riley. The final balloon floated past the attic window. Number 9. Riley looked at me, crying. "He's waiting for the last one." We agreed, if one of us disappears, the other runs. No hesitation. At 5:59 a.m. I blinked, and she was gone. Her side of the attic empty. No sound, no scream, just the final balloon, the 10, gently drifting through the trapdoor. And standing behind it was him, the masked man. Closer than ever. I didn't run, I just stared. He raised his hand slowly, reached for his face, and removed the mask. There was nothing beneath it. No skin, no muscle, no bone. Just swirling blackness. Like a vacuum. A hole. And then I woke up, alone, in the middle of the snowy road, a mile from the house. The police said the home was empty when they arrived. No bodies, no damage, no blood, no trace of the other guests. They said there wasn't even a birthday party planned there. The place was abandoned for years. But in my coat pocket was a balloon string with the number 11 drawn on it.